25 miles away, but so far I haven't seen any smoke this morning. A little bit yesterday, but it kind of dissipated kind of quick because the wind kicked up. But anyway, that's the story here, so I'll hand it back over to Ron in MU6F K0DWC.
Okay, good deal, guys. Well, oops. Audio 1, 2. Oh, there we go. All right, well, good enough, guys. I got, yeah, you faded out there a little bit, Chuck. Conditions they're all over. When it's good, it's good. And okay, Bob, on the smoke, far being far enough away, but yeah, we've had all this last week, lots of smoke here in Nevada. So, all right, well, hopefully that fire keeps far enough away, and man, I can't imagine fighting fires in this kind of weather. All right, now I'm going to go grab another cup of coffee. Good to hear conditions are in there. My QRN is gone this morning, knock on wood. All right. I'll be listening, standing by. NU6F.
Okay, that sounds like a good time for me to break in. WA7YBS here, Vintage Military Radio Net, and been listening for a little bit. Pre-net warm-up, and get everybody psyched in here. We'll be net control today, WA7YBS Henry in Dayton Valley. And in the number 1 spot, I have Ron. This is just the order that I heard you guys. So in the number 1 spot's Ron, NU6F. Morning, Ron. Number 2 spot's Chuck, K0DWC. Good morning, Chuck. And in the number 3 spot is Bob, W6AQU. Good morning, Bob. All 3 of you guys got good signals. And let's see if there's anybody else out there that wants to get in here on the pre-net warm-up, get checked in, that sort of stuff. And, well, number 4 is open. If you want to check in, do it now.
WA60PE. And W7MS.
KD6TKX. W6MQI.
Okay. And let's see, in the number 4 spot, we have Tom, WA60PE. Good morning, Tom. Good signal. Number 5 spot's Mike, W7MS. Good morning, Mike. And good signal here. And in the number 6 spot's Andy, KD6TKX. And good morning, Andy. Good signal. And in the number 7 spot's Dave, W6MQI. Good morning, Dave. Number 8 is open if anybody wants to get in here on the first go-around. It's kind of like the pre-net warm-up that kind of morphs into the first round. So anyway, number 8 is open if you want to check in, do it now.
W6SSP.
Okay, Steve, W6SSP. And you're doing okay. You've got a lot of QRN for some reason, but the noise limiter's taking care of it. So anyway, hopefully conditions will pick up a little bit because it's right neck and neck there, Steve, with the noise level and your signal. But I think things are going to get better. So if there's anybody else that wants to get in, number 9 is open. If you want to check in, do it now. Okay. Well, I'm on the T3 today, and I'll try to do a little bit of tweaking here. And I should talk and tweak at the same time, so we don't have kind of just dead carrier there. That seems about as good as it's going to get. And there we go. Okay. Anyways, the T368, we're running 350 watts of carrier power, and looking at the scope, looks like we're fully modulated, and so there we go. Antenna is the little antenna, the 130-foot inverted V, fed with open feed line to the antenna tuner, and we're listening on the Arvin R725, which is the modified 1967 EAC R390A with the essentially an R390 IF deck. A few other little changes to make it an R725, but there you go. And so that's the station, that's the rundown. And let me go ahead and read the list one more time, and then we'll get started. Number 1 is Ron, NU6F. Number 2 is Chuck, K0DWC. Number 3 is Bob, W6AQU. Number 4 is Tom, WA6OPE. Number 5 is Mike, W7MS. Number 6 is Andy, KD6TKX. Number 7 is Dave, W6MQI. And number 8 is Steve, W6SSP. So, let's see what there's somebody that wants to get in, be number 9 here. We'll go ahead and pick them up if they do. Number 9 is ready. If you're ready to check in, do it now. Okay, up to Ron. Let's get going. It's NU6F, WA7YBS, Vintage Military Radio Net. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, good deal. Time for me to go ahead and tweak and peek. All right. And good morning to all. We got a few more folks back. Sounds good. Steve, good to hear you in there. Dave, and Andy, Mike, Tom, Bob, Chuck, and a quiet band here, so I'm not going to complain. Anyhow, I'm also running the T3 at 300 watts or so, and the 170-foot long wire, and listening on the Stuart Warner R390A 1960 contract. Where were you in 1960? Take it away, Chuck. K0DWC, NU6F.
Okay, Ron, NU6F in the group, K0DWC. Well, good morning to everybody. Pretty cool, we got T3s on the air. That's pretty neat. That doesn't happen all the time. Really is pounding in here. Ron is too. Everybody else has got good signals all the way down the line. It's good to have Steve and Andy back. Plus all the usual systems underneath. So, anyway, we're running the RT13 and the R388. An inverted D with a D104 microphone. And I've got the 388 on the loop antenna. So, keep it going. Send it back over to Mark to Cable Stream. Go ahead and take it, Bob.
Thanks, Chuck. K0, DWC, W6 Able Point Uncle. Well, good morning. Joey, OPE, Ron Clark. Mike MS has slipped in this morning. Andy, I did not hear you, but I'll try next time. Dave? Steve? Pretty good for 7:18 in the morning. Pretty good in here earlier, but there was some kind of a little get-together going on the frequency 1 kc away, so we couldn't hear anything for a while. Yeah, we've had a lot of smoke here that's been lingering, and the main fire is now far enough away. It won't bother us, but we're raising hell with a bunch of other people that can't get out. And talking to some of the fire crews that we met in town yesterday, where a gathering of all the new fire trucks has been, and they're just going out and trying to protect each house. And they don't have enough engines, but they were spawning fire hoses. I've never heard of this before. They would go out and make sure that there was nothing around the house close that would burn, and then they left a hose. So whatever engine could actually get there, they would be all set up there to put the hose on the rig. Most of these trucks were OES pumpers that hold 800 gallons of water. So it wouldn't last all day, but anyhow, the fire's going to go for a long, long time. It's in terrain that you just can't get through. But we had a ringside seat the other day with those bombers. They had the big LAFTs or whatever they call them, 4-engine 4A bombers that circle our place in order to get run into the top of the road. Well, that was entertaining, I guess. Pretty expensive entertainment, though. All right. Thanks again. You got some phones. WA60PE. W6ACU.
Okay. W6AQU, this is WA60PE, Tom in Richmond, where it's cool and gray. High fog. I don't think it's too thick, but anyway, I think it'll probably be gone by 10 a.m. or something like that anyway, about like yesterday. But it's been nice here, nice and cool. Let's see here. Well, the big news for me anyway, and W6AWO, Mr. Dillman, yeah, Friday was an anniversary from, that was the end of commercial Morse in the United States, North America mostly. And Mr. Dillman and I were both at the ceremony in Half Moon Bay at KFS for the sign-off on that day. So yesterday was 25 years, or Friday was 25 years to the day, 5 p.m. local time, that commercial Morse ended. So it was also night of nights for KPH. So KPH and KFS were on the air. And I did a visit. W6AWO and I both went to the Point Reyes receiver site for the opening at 5 o'clock. And then after meeting a bunch of new people and looking around, we went down to Molina's transmitter site and met a couple more new people, volunteers, looked around the place, hadn't been there in over 10 years. And boy, the trees have grown up like crazy. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Anyway, still going. So 25 years has gone by. It's hard to believe. Seems like, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, seems like a little longer than that to me. But anyway, so Morse was in the air on most of the frequencies except for 4 megs Friday night. And they continue to go. So there you go. Anyway, that's my report. I think I'm going to do something crazy today. I think my wife and I are going to jump in the truck and head for Colfax, Colfax, California, and see if we can catch the Union Pacific Big Boy 4014. I got to be out of my mind to be doing this, right? It's probably going to be hotter than hell, and it's probably going to be a bad thing. So we shall see. Anyway, I know at least 2 of you have already seen it in northern Nevada or Portola. Hopefully I'll get a report coming up, although signal reports a little iffy on MS when he signed in. Let's see, yeah, I'll give you a signal report. Land was Q5, no problem. Chuck was in and out. For a while I could tell he was there, but I couldn't make out anything. And then he came up a little bit, then went back down again. So about Q3, Q4, so. AQU, Q5, no problem. Henry was nice and loud. He was top dog so far. Good signal. And on the sign-in, I heard Andy, good signal. I heard Steve, and I heard, I think I heard MQI. He should be loud, but for some reason, well, we shall see. And Steve, a note to Steve, SSP, when I went to Fort Ray's, I saw that SSB3 receiver that you restored and made operational, and that is a thing of beauty. It's the first one I've ever seen in person. And that's a piece of history and just an absolute gem. Unfortunately, it wasn't operational, but still, it was. It's only because it wasn't turned on and hooked to an antenna, but that's another story. But it is a thing of beauty. And then when we went down to the Bolinas site, I saw the other one there downstairs at Bolinas. Another, not near as nice, but it can be made to be nice. Beautiful from Voice of America, Greenville. Receiver site, just absolute gem. And the other big news is that the 22 megacycle transmitter that was on the air on Night Nights was the H-set, number 298 H-set. Probably the only one on the road that's operational. And there it was, live and direct on the air and looking beautiful. They had a couple of volunteers that did a beautiful job, automotive wax job, on all those transmitters that are operational. They waxed them all. I did it years ago because they were really chunky, but I didn't do anywhere near as nice a job as these guys have done recently. I couldn't believe it. The paint on those 60-plus-year-old transmitters look like new, and that 298 is just absolute. Just a real gem to look at, and the fact that it's actually on the air and putting out 5 kilowatts is just mind-blowing. So, nice job. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, I'll keep it moving. Let me go. Let's see here. Where's it go? Goes to Mike, W7MS, WA60PE.
Well, thank you, sir. Let me check some boiler pressure here. Speaking of 8014, yeah, I think we're okay. Hello. So, WA60P and the Nevada Vintage Military Net W7MS, Mike in Reno, for a formal introduction. So far, acceptable to great signals from all on frequency, which is good news. And I won't answer Ron's question where I was in 1960, but I did make a few notes on that, but we'll save that for another day. But you asked for it, Ron. And Bob, well, interesting on the updates on the fire issues and the prep for with CAL FIRE there at your place, but that is good. But I guess you're going to have to deal with poor air quality for the immediate future, which fortunately here in the Reno area we've just had some nuance of AQI issues, but nothing as in summers have passed. It's not bad at all. This morning running the Gray Front TCS-12 setup with the unmodified receiver and running dynamotor power here. So that's the setup, and of course 250 watts with the assist from the Collins 30S1 amplifier. So great Tom on Night of Nights. I did take a look at the PDF newsletter, and it was great to see that Richard even was featured in a French public TV shoot there and discussion of on CW. So that was great to see. Read the newsletter, didn't actually participate or listen, but was aware of Night of Nights. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to participate in the 25th anniversary. It's again hard to believe it's been 25 years, but had this conversation yesterday with somebody relating to another 25th anniversary. That things have changed a lot in that 25 years, not to mention gray hair, but also just in society and with technology. It just keeps marching forward. And comments on 4014, successful Portola, successful bridge crossing over by Great Basin Pottery outside of Doyle. A long wait, and Ron and I had a discussion on this, was the GPS tracking on the train crapped out just east of or west of Gerlach because there's no cell service. It didn't pick up till the Nevada state line, so there was a little early birding, I think, by both Ron and I in anticipation of the train. So I think I sat out in 106-degree temperatures out there for about 2.5 hours waiting for the train to go by, but it was worth it, and had a good time. And of course, for us Nevadans, as you will experience in Colfax, you can join the bum rush up in the Truckee River Canyon later today, and then head over to Sparks, and then catch it headed eastbound tomorrow. So a lot of fun in the world of choo-choo trains. So with that, over to Andy. Good morning, Andy. KD6TKX, W7MS.
W7MS, KD6TKX. Thanks, Mike. Good signals all the way around. Good morning to you. Yeah, interesting on the train stuff. I don't know too much about that, but I'm looking a little bit of it on the internet just to refresh myself. But it's amazing, really. When I was a student, we had the Southern Pacific rolling by twice a day. And for about 3 years after we moved there, I'd run down there twice a day just to watch it go by. It was the biggest, most powerful thing I'd seen, except for a couple of school principals. So, anyways, Andy at Prairie Mountain, and this morning I'm running a Coast Watcher set, the 1942 AWA Pre-Bravo Z, and did a little bit of work on this recently. I put together a decent power supply for the receiver, which had always been kind of kludged together. Now I'm working on one for the transmitter. Just want to have everything nice and clean and have nice cables and that kind of stuff. So really enjoy operating this radio. So finally getting a little bit of work done to it. And I'm running that through an SB220 to give me about a little over 200 watts output. So hopefully it's got an okay out there. We've had a hot week, 2 120-degree days. And the good thing about hitting 120 is that that's the end of my thermometer, so it cannot get any hotter after that. Kind of crazy. I did bug out for a while. I was down staying with my daughter for a couple days, so it makes it bearable. Tom, thanks for the update on Night of Nights. Really cool. Glad you could go back and see what's going on there. It's kind of heartening to know that it's all there, and new people are taking an interest, even to the point of waxing down transmitters. So, good deal right there. Up to you, Dave. W6MQI in the Military Radio Group. This is KD6TKX.
KD6TKX, W6MQI. All righty, Andy. And good morning to everybody. Everybody's feeling pretty good. Let's see. What is my train of thought here doing something? Sorry about that. Yeah, good morning, everybody. And this is Dave and Henry. And we're on the TCK this morning. Listening on the 298. Weather here is overcast, about 64 degrees. Kind of loving the cooler weather. The heat's just been a bit much lately. And 120 degrees, Andy, man. I think our hottest here was a little over 110, I think, somewhere in that range. But yeah, it's been so high, you can't even go out and do anything. But 1960, where was I around? I was probably running around in my parents' house in my birthday suit, more than likely. Let's see, I was 1 year old with 1960, so that's what I was doing. And fine business on KPH, good to hear. Things are still flipping there. I always want to listen to that night at nights, but I always forget about it. Always forget. And Big Boy, I have a really good picture I took of Big 4014 when it came over the Altamont Pass, probably in the 90s, right up towards the summit. And I took the negative and made some large prints of it and have it framed. And he gave it that old time patina piece. It's got a nice effect to it. Interesting. I got an email from my mom. I guess one of her cousins was asking her time in Wyoming, and she was mentioning her going to the rail yards there in Cheyenne. My grandfather lunch and running through the tracks and all the steam engines running around, and mentioned she didn't know if it was a Big Boy or not. I don't know enough history on it, but apparently there was a rather large, to a young girl it would seem large, engine laying on its side as it just came in to the Cheyenne rail yards. I guess there's a curve there somewhere, and it was going too fast and was rolled over on its side. And it was a big deal in Cheyenne. Everybody was out there looking at it. But, yeah, a lot of history there, a lot of history. I haven't seen Big Boy on the road since the 90s. Other than that, that's about it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Anyway, up to Steve. W6SSB, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Oh boy, what's going on? Okay, there we go. W6MQI in the group, W6SSB. Boy, conditions here are not that great. Q5 on most folks, but which is very, very unusual. Dave and Henry are the top dog. Anyway, this is Steve from Santa Rosa. Running the Collins 32 V1 transmitter, 85 watts out, and the 75 over receiver. Both classic rigs from about 1946 or 1947. And boy, a lot of comments. First of all, I want to thank you for the excellent article on the Howard radio. I really enjoyed that one. A lot of detail and many things that I had no clue about. So that was very, very enjoyable. And also want to mention that next Saturday is the big CHRS Radio Days event where they have an auction and they put on a radio play and music, and they have a surplus sale too. And I heard they have an awful lot for sale at the surplus thing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go or not, but for folks that are close, Tom might want to show up. Maybe there'll be some good stuff out there for you. And Tom, thank you for mentioning the work done out at KPH. Well, I'll tell you, it was a pleasure listening to the pits if it was going to be on the air this time, because I know they have all kinds of problems with antennas falling down and trees getting into the feed lines and stuff like that. But it was on the air and it was a wonderful thing to listen to. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, Tom, but it took us 3.5 years to restore that thing. The core group was about 4 or 5 people, and we were out there every other Saturday for 3.5 years. That gives you an idea of the magnitude of the project. Another major project that I kind of took on myself with a little help from Richard. And that was a 10-year project because the only hint that there was one of those ever at either site was a single module, the BFM module. I looked at that and started doing some research on the net and actually found the pre-switcher module for LCA receiver on eBay, and I purchased it. And to give you guys an idea of the magnitude of this receiver, The pre-selector had 37 tubes in it. Just the pre-selector. And it gets even more complex the further you get. The receiver sits in 2 7-foot marks. Took me a full year to restore it once we found the first one. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Very, very unique projects, both of them, and I'm glad those stars were. The other 3 should be operational, 100% operational, but they've run out of antenna feeds from the splitter that they're using for the single antenna. So anyway, that's enough for me. Over to Henry, WA7YBS, W6SSB. Okay. W6SSB, WA7YBS. All right. Got to do a little bit of adjusting here, and everything is just looking okay. Okay, good copy, solid on everybody. Conditions are not the greatest, but, still Q5, so Top Dog, well, Chuck, of course, and Mike putting in a good signal, and Dave putting in a good signal, and Ron, and Tom, OPE, good signal, and Andy, pretty good signal, and Steve, pretty good signal. So that's the, and Bob. Bob was actually doing quite well, but, we'll just have to see how things go as we progress along here. So let's see if there's anybody else that wants to get in here, check in, let's see what happens. So number 9 is open. If you want to check into the Vintage Military Radio Net, do so now.
Let me break in here. It's WA6OPE. I'm going to have to take off and head for Colfax. So 73, everybody, and have a good one. WA6OPE out.
Okay, Tom. WA6OPE will 73. Have a good time, and we'll hear you next week. So, if there's a station out there, I couldn't hear them, because you kind of wonder where N6BCT is, but conditions are not great today, so we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. Nothing else heard either. The projects this week, I've been working on the Hammerland SP600 VLS, and it's I've had that receiver 10 years, and I've really never really done a whole lot to it, and so I fixed it and did things to it to keep it running and everything, but I never went through it. And so luckily it was built in 1958, so almost all of the capacitors in it are ceramic discs, and so it's a different receiver. It's built along the lines of an SP600. Mechanically, it's got a lot of the same stuff, but in the front end, it's totally different. Circuit-wise, totally different. It's a single conversion receiver, 705 kilocycle IF. But anyway, we progressed through the thing and had it completely apart, all 24 RF modules out of the turret, and inspected, cleaned, and reinstalled. And then we did the full alignment on it. And, well, we'll see how it works. I finished the alignment yesterday late afternoon, so I haven't. And, of course, it's summer. What are you going to listen to on long wave anyway? Just the submarine stations. There's the only thing that's really out there, 24 kilocycle NAA, NLK up in Jim Creek, Washington, things like that. And you can even listen to WWVB, the old 60 kilocycle time signal, in April, this last April, 2024. They lost their north antenna, and so they're running at reduced power. and you can just barely hear them. And so, anyway, WWVB, I guess it's we're putting out enough power to keep our clock set, unless it's that's coming over the power lines or something. But at any rate, WWVB on 60 kilocycles is kind of not too recognizable these days. I don't know when they're going to get the antenna fixed, but one of these days maybe. So that's what's going on here, and so let's go ahead and check one more time. Anybody want to check NB number 9? Do it now. Well, there's Bill, N6BCT. Go ahead and make a transmission, Bill. You're number 9, and turn it back to me, WA7YBS. Go ahead, Bill. Okay, I think he turned it over to me. That was rough, Bill. Rough copy. I could barely tell you were in there. I heard N6BCT, but beyond that, it was Q0. Conditions are not good today. At least not here in western Nevada. Anyway, let's go ahead and do round 2. Up to Ron, NU6F, and Tom, WA60P, he has signed, so skip him, and Bob will turn it over to Mike, W7MS. So NU6F, go ahead, Ron.
Okay, time for me to do tweak and peak. Yeah, boy, I'm not getting out that well. I'm looking over at the, I'm looking over at KPH, and I'm way down. But anyhow, I was much better last night. So there you go. Propagation is what it is. And I can see Tom now loading up the car and headed east. My old stomping ground, Colfax. Yeah, I only lived, my place there in Cape Horn was, which was an old water and wood stop for the steam engines just before the Cape Horn Tunnel. And so, yeah, saw lots of trains there. Yeah, 1960, I was trying to think. I was still playing with crystal sets. Remember that. My first attempt at a crystal set was probably when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old, and all I could see was it said you needed a cat whisker. And I had the earphones wound the coil and all that. You guessed it. I had to catch our cat, and I literally pulled out a whisker. And you know what? It didn't work. And when Dad got home, he said, "What did you do?" "Well, you know, I'm still playing with making that crystal set, and that diode that you got, that worked really good. But boy, that cat whisker don't work worth a darn." Dad scratched his head, saying, "I don't know too much of this radio stuff, but I think that's just a term they used. I don't think it could have been a cat's whisker." Yeah, well, anyhow, that ended the love affair between me and the cat. Let's see, what else? Yeah, more on the 4014. Yeah, we were, Mike and I were up there in the warm part of the state, but nothing like Dave's 123. I don't think I would have stuck it out that long. One of the guys that was, there were about, where I was at the south end of Doyle, there were about 4 of us that were there along some guy's pasture that gave us a good shot. But the one guy next to me, probably a couple years older, maybe pushing 80, and he said he's always got to see 4014. He's from Susanville, but he said that he grew up in Pomona, and 4014 was in a rail museum / county park, and as a kid he used to crawl all over that thing and play on it, and now here it is steaming on by from a museum piece to rolling iron. And yeah, let's see, I also did not, I had other stuff going, so I couldn't listen to the Night of Nights, but 25 years, yeah, that's quite a job to keep that, keep KPH running like that. Mike, good deal on the TCS 12 on the dynamotor, which I did not hear, so, but typically, you know, they're pretty quiet compared to TDE MG sets anyhow. And Andy, okay, on the Coast Watcher set, like I said before, man, that Coast Watcher set is a long ways from any coast. There in Coalinga. Steve, yeah, a 37 tube pre-selector. Wow. Yeah, by the time, I guess you can almost guarantee that there's going to be a tube replaced every year, no matter how it was built. Okay, with that, take it away, Chuck, back down to Dayton. K0DWC, NU6F.
NU6F, K0DWC. Okay, Ron, very good. You picked up a little bit there. When you started out, you were down just a little bit, but then it came back. So, like Henry says, the conditions aren't that great here either, and I'm only about a mile and a half from Henry's house. So, which was weird. Bob was fine. Tom was fine. Mike was pounding in. I heard Andy. Andy was down a little bit, but then he picked up, and then Dave was pounding in, and then Steve was the same as Andy. He started off kind of weak, but about midway through his transmission, he picked up quite a bit too. So, and Bill, I was getting the same audio as Henry was. I could tell he was there, and I heard his call sign. But that was the end of that. But at least we know, Bill, you're there, sir. Okay, well, 7-3s to Tom. And Andy, that Coast Watcher set, I got to agree with Ron, that Coast Watcher set is pretty cool. And, you know, your Q5 copy here with that. So, man, you got that thing working gangbusters, man. That's a great job. But, let's see. Well, not a whole lot going on here. If anything, because of the heat and stuff. I'm doing a little non-radio work, but I got my welder here in the radio room, converting it over to MIG operations. So I had to order the special kit for it. All that, and I've been doing preliminary work with the welder so I can get it on some carbon dioxide. Got to run down to Sierra Air and take on carbon dioxide, maybe even a bottle of argon. It just depends on what I'm going to use it for. That's kind of what I've been messing with here the last day or so. But can't do much until the stuff gets here. So luckily, it's coming from Summit Racing, if you can believe that. And there's one right over there in Sparks that should get it here the next day or two. There's 4 of those around the country, so luckily I'm close to one of them. Anyway, that's about all that's going on here. I will I'll keep it going. I'll send it back over to Mike and to Bob. Bob, what's that smoke doing over there? Is it moving around or clearing out or what? W6AQU, K0, DWC.
DWC. W6AQU. Very little dissipation. A little displacement of the smoke. Okay, let's see. This is W6AQU at Bunting. 732. Sound like a fun trip today. Well, Master really came up that time. You must have changed transmitters. Andy came up also. Morning to you down there in Curry Mountain. Dave, you stayed the same. Steve is starting to fade on. And we did hear Bill. Bill's not too strong here, but then every now and then he's come up a little bit. We need more power, bigger antennas, Bill. Something like that. Not many comments here on anything. Just laying low. Can't do anything outside. It's just too darn hot. I don't think the smoke's a problem as far as breathing, but I only went outside twice yesterday. Just too darn hot. It's much nicer inside, under the air conditioning here. We did get to see all the stuff on the ex-president on the attempted assassination and all that stuff on the news last night. It went on all the channels. That's really about it. I don't know if we're going to get outside much to do it. We still got a little bit of looks like that's going to get done for a while. So with that, I will say 73s. And, okay, he's gone, so it's back up there to Mike. And 60 years or whatever that when I was 10 years old or so. Did not do one for a while and was playing off my flying career. Had a couple airplanes in the hangar and having a lot of fun. So, Mike, W7MS, W6AQU.
Well, thank you, Bob. Well, I was checking my frequency. I think we drifted a tad, but it's probably close enough. W6AQU, W7MS. Well, good reception from all with the exception of Bill. And Andy was rather difficult and not so much received signal level, but I've got a little bit of a birdie nuance probably from a PV issue, a nice little 60 hertz something here on this frequency, but it's would probably not even be worthy of comment on normal propagation days, so it's a little challenging. But let me see here. Yeah, fine on the on all, and great story from Steve and his restoration efforts there at Point Reyes and Bolinas. Fantastic effort, and kept you busy for a decade. Great on that. Henry's projects. Bob's going to hang loose today, and that's okay. It's that kind of a weekend. And Ron did some train watching. I guess maybe you didn't make it to Portola, but I'm not quite sure on that. But it's all good. And, of course, Chuck, you're going to be doing some welding and waiting for the supplies. And, of course, the irony, as has been mentioned previously by myself and other people, the fact that Summit and DX Engineering are owned by the same folks. So I guess if you were going to do an in-store visit in Sparks, you could maybe order or pick up your ham gear. So it's how convenient. Short list here for well, what was I doing in 1960? Well, I lived in 450 Morrill Avenue, Reno, across from the Morrill Avenue fire station, which was great as a little kid. In fact, we had a small house fire, and they just had to walk across the street. I still remember that. That was a great breakfast event at 450 Morrill Avenue. And attended Orvis Ring grade school. And Orvis Ring no longer exists. 450 Morrill Avenue no longer exists. The fire station became a homeless shelter, and now I don't know what it is now, but it's something. It still exists, at least the building. And I had a clear shot from my front yard of the what was originally the broadcast tower for Channel 8 TV that had been reduced to standby status when Slide Mountain went down. They would fire that up, which created all kind of interesting issues with the TV set and rabbit ears. You talk about multipath, since the transmitter was a block away. I still remember that. Made TV viewing, cartoon viewing rather challenging in setting up the rabbit ears. So that's where I was in 1960. And Dave, you must have seen the Challenger, because the big boy was not, it was still in Ontario in that area, just minor correction, and wasn't restored to service till 2019 out of Cheyenne. So it's not the same locomotive, but their Challenger and the big boy are certainly they're both big, that's for sure, that's for certain. So with that, I'm going to say 73s, because I know propagation is not going to get any better. And we'll hand it over to Andy and listen out here. KD6 TKX W7MS.
Okay, Mike, thanks. W7MS and the military group. Here is KD6 TKX. Yeah, signal's all way down now, so I guess it's summertime blues here for propagation, at least from my distance. And I'm a couple hundred miles south of the Bay Area, guys, so just sometimes it's a good spot to be in, but not always. And Mike, your TCS sounds great, by the way. I can hear that it's gray, but otherwise, it sounds great. I'm just kidding, of course. But nice to hear that on the air. As popular as TCSs are, I guess it's true of all this stuff. I don't hear many of anything on the air anymore. So nice to hear it, TCS. And Henry, are you good on the low frequency camera lens thing? Yeah, low frequency signals. This time of year, I can still hear stuff in the spider out here, but looking at what's going on, it's just a little bit new to me. It's just like one end of the band to the other. So difficult conditions there. I've been working on my, I call it Radio 2, which is the TBL-12, and I put a RAS receiver in there with it. And that's based on some of these Blue Jacket manuals that I have from a couple different naval shipyards. It lists different ships by hull number, so very specific, and it says exactly what kind of radios they have on board. And quite a few of the DDs and DEs in Radio 2 had TBLs and RAS, so I was kind of surprised by that, because RAS doesn't always seem to me like a shipboard type receiver, just based on its construction, but it sure was. So there you go. Who knew? Well, I'm going to turn off this, because I have a chance now to sit outside for just a little while before the heat changes, which has been pretty impressively. Thanks for letting me get into the net, and thank you, Henry, for doing the D's. Nice to hear everyone out there this morning. Have a good rest of your Sunday. So W6MQI and the group, this is KD6TKX, saying 73s from Curry Mountain.
Hi, KD6TKX W6MQI. All right, Andy, take care. Yep. Missions are fading fast here. And Mike, thanks for the correction. I know absolutely nothing about those engines, so I was totally wrong on that. Challenger. Okay. I'll have to look, try and dig that picture out and see what the number is on the front of that engine. But, let's see. Yep. get out, do some stuff before it heats up, although it's not supposed to get all that hot here today. Back for in a cooling trend. So 73 everybody, and talk to you guys later. So if you're still there, Steve, over to you. W6SSP, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see. Yeah. I'm still on the air, I think. Boy, conditions really have taken a dump. Dave, you and Henry are the strongest by far. Everyone else was about Q3 to Q4, catching a word here and there, but not full sentences. So that's how it goes. But we have a high fog here, so the usual noise from the neighbor's solar system isn't a factor for a change. Shift propagation, that's how it is. I haven't really had much of a chance to do anything with radio lately, dealing mostly with property and house problems. Hired a tree service for the first time ever to take out 5 trees, and I hated to do that, but it's a whole lot easier just to sit down and write a check than nurse a bad back and sore knees for a week or two. So anyway, that's probably going to be a trend. Radio-wise, the only thing new here is I picked up a B&W 51SB, which is a sideband adapter for the B&W 5100 transmitter, which Tom has. I don't know if anybody else has one of these, but the sideband adapter I got was really in nice condition. It's almost new, came with a manual and everything else. So I guess if 5100 crosses my path for a decent price, I'll probably pick it up. Don't know where I put it, but I pick it up just out of habit. Anyway, guys, conditions have faded to the point where I think I'm going to say 73. Hope to see y'all next weekend. And we'll send it down to Bill, N6BCT, W6SSP. Good morning, Bill. Okay, I don't really know whether Bill was signed or not. I did hear clear, I did hear a little audio, and it went away, so we'll say 73 to Bill. We'll also say 73 to Mike, and to Andy, and to Dave, and to Steve. And that leaves Ron, Chuck, and Bob to do your 73. So Ron, Chuck, and Bob, turn it back to me, WA7YBS, and we'll wrap this up. And you 6F, go ahead.
Okay, well, at least the order is going to be easy for me. I don't have to remember who signed and who didn't. Yeah, pretty rough conditions, so, well, that's what you got. And, well, Henry, I guess it's good that we don't have enough on down at 60 KC. Definitely would be a lot tougher. Yeah, that'll be a real stretch to do any DXing with the SP600 VLF. All right, guys, I got one possible project. A big one maybe coming up, depends. My cousin in down in Denver, her co-worker is a ham. I get emails and pics from every now and then, so he sent me a picture of a complete FCR 274 at an estate sale. Boy, it looked really, really super nice, all original. Anyhow. So I might be tempted. He said he'd box it all up and ship it to me. So I don't tomorrow. He said he was going to give me a call from that QTH later this afternoon. So we'll see if I get suckered into another project. All right, guys. Chuck, you can try and find a cool spot to work on the well. Like I said, well, you brought it in. Yeah, I guess it's out of the shop, so that'll be a whole lot better. And we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully we'll be doing a lot better. And Bob, stay inside, no smoke outside. I'm listening out. K0DWC and U6F.
K0DWC. Okay, very good. 7 trees, all of it is fine. 98%. Yeah, on the welder, it's an upgrade that I've been wanting to do for quite a few years. And I probably should have done it a lot earlier because 4 or 5 years ago, that kit was like $180. Now it's like between $300 and $400. So, anyway, leave it to me to wait. But anyway, it's just an upgrade. I'm not looking to use it for a special project right now, but it's just an upgrade I want to do on this welder to get better welds and better looking welds. Because I'll tell you what, running wire flux core in it is terrible. No matter what you do, the welds just don't look right, they don't come out right, they don't penetrate right. And of course you're not running on 220, you're operating on 115, and that does make a difference. So, but anyway, fun pun. But anyway, I'll say my 7 trees, and Henry, I'll give you a buzz here after lunch today. I will hand it over to Bob. W6AQU. This is K0DWC. Plant 7 trees. Go ahead and take it, Bob.
Very good, Chuck. W6A will point uncle. No, looks like I'm that last man standing. Fading away. I did your bill sign. He did sign. And maybe I don't think conditions will be better next week. One of the summer doldrums. So that's how it is. We could maybe start the net earlier, 6 o'clock maybe. That's not going to happen, is it, Henry? All right, Jim 3 Doll. Dr. Net Computer WA7 YBS W6AQU.
Bob, W6AQU, WA7 YBS. All right. And one little comment, if Ron's still listening, believe it or not, Ron, using that SP600 VLF and a homemade loop antenna and a long wire antenna for the transmitter, 160, I think it was 163 feet. I had a 2-way QSO with NO3M in Pennsylvania on 630 meters suburbia. So 10 DX, not right out of the United States, at least I never have. But it is possible to get some stuff on 630 meters that is, well, it's there. And then, of course, NDBs, when there used to be NDBs all over the United States. So, but that's all changed. Not much on LS, not much at all below 500 KC anymore. So with that, thanks everybody for participating in the Vintage Military Radio Net, and Chuck will be net control next week. And we'll hope for better conditions, but I think I agree with Bob. It's just going to be crummy until September. So with that, 73 all around. Everybody have a good week coming up. WA7YBS, we closing the net and signing off.